Hi, I'm Paul Garden and I'm going to do a walkthrough of JFrog Curation. So here I am at the login screen. I just hit login to get into my platform instance and it drops me into the administration tab. There are two tabs to note. There's the administration one, which is on the right, and the application one on the left. Let's start on the administration one. Down on the left, you'll see curation. You click on general. Now this is where the curation journey starts. So by activating your service, you would switch it on here. Mine's currently switched on, but if I was to try and switch it off, I get a warning, but you can toggle it on and off here. Just underneath, it gives you an idea of your service state, so you can see whether it's enabled or not. And then just below that, this is where you can decide the notification actions that you want to have when your policies are in place, whether you want to email the requester and anybody else, and when you do want to email anyone else, you can type in the email address here. Now under General is Curated Repositories. This is where you have your list of curated remote repositories. I have Python, NPM, and Maven. You can toggle them on and off here. When you do try and switch them off, it warns you that you have some policies set against them. I'm not actually going to turn that one off. So that's the Administration tab. Now let's move over to the Application tab. Curation is right here below X-Ray. And this is where you get the control and visibility, and you set up everything to do with curation. So let's start with Policies Management. Inside this tab here, you will see all of the active packages if you have any. And then in the Inactive tab, you'll see any inactive policies. I don't have any here. So for instance, you will see the repositories covered by the policy name, the condition, and what is the action. And if you click on it, you get a summary on the right-hand side. It gives you a little bit more of the details. If you have any waivers set up, the action, and when it was created and when it was updated. So lots of information there. Now, how do you create a policy? Well, you do that with the Create Policy button here. So let's start with giving it a name. We'll call it New Policy. Next. Then here is where you pick up and you select the different types of repositories that you want to apply to this policy. Now, just something to note, everywhere you see a circle with an eye in it, it's a little info button. So this is very useful. It will give you information about what it is you're selecting or a specific part of the user interface. So you can pick all the repositories, specific ones. I'm going to pick all of them. You can actually exclude some if you wanted to. I'm not going to exclude any. Then you can click Next. Now this is where you pick up the policy conditions. So you choose which type of policy. So do you want a malicious package? And it gives you the information about what type of policy it is. This one blocks CVEs with a CVSS score of 9 or above, which does have a fixed version and available. And this is where you do with or without a fixed version available. There's also other types. So there's license compliance policies. Here is, package has no identified license type. And then we have some operational risk policies. Here is where you can pick a policy that's age and it's got no new version identified. So let's pick one. We'll pick the CVE with a score of 9 or above. Then we click Next. Now we can set up something called a waiver. Now this is really interesting. What do I mean by a waiver? So I'll put the hover up so you can see. This is where we can exclude certain packages from this policy. So and why might we need to do that, you ask, is, well, if you know that this project is not going to go to production for a while and you need a specific package to come through because it's needed for development, you can add a waiver. So let's do one of those. Let's pick Maven and Next and a package name. So let's come up with a name. Let's choose this one, and you can choose a version. So you can say it's needed for dev. There we go. So then you save it. So now you have a waiver. So the policies conditions are set. Now there's a waiver set. And then finally, you have to set the actions. So you want to block the package and notify someone specific, or you can actually do something called a dry run, which it's kind of a way of emulating what would happen if you set the policy up with this and you don't want to actually block the packages, you just want to see what would happen. So it could be part of a way of rolling out across your organization and you want to see the effect. So we'll do block and then we hit Next and then it's finished. And you've got a summary on the right hand side so you can see the policy name, the repositories, a quick description if you have a waiver and whether it was blocked, how you want to block it and what the notifications are. So I won't actually save that. Then we come to Audit, which is where you get tons of visibility. So you can see all of the packages that came into your organization and whether they were approved or whether they were blocked. Now, this is great for companies that have highly regulated industries, or you have compliance regulations that you need to comply to and they want to have an audit trail. So this is where you'll get a complete audit trail of what's coming into your organization and what's got blocked. And what's great about this is it'll list an event ID, a time, the action that it was blocked or it was approved, the reason why, the package type name, and also version, and the policy name with which it was held against to, like here, this was policy number 1 for this malicious package. So this is a full history of everything that's come into your organization. We also have a full history of any dry run events. So if you do have dry run switched on, you have a history here. And this last one is very important, user actions. There's an audit trail of any changes to policy. So if a policy gets updated, and this one happens to have a waiver test change, this gives you an idea of all of the details about this specific policy and who updated it and when it was updated. So this gives you a history when things were changed by a user. So this gives you tons of visibility. Policies give you the control. So this is the application side of it. And then if we just jump back to the admin side quickly, this is where you can see the curated repositories that you have and whether they're switched on, and then whether you actually have your curation activated and switched on here.